Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Essays in Espresso podcast. I am your new host, apparently, the forever host now, Bouken. And we're going to talk about media consumption habits today.
I don't know about forever host.
I do.
Oh, you want to be host now?
Yeah, totally. It has been my lifelong dream.
Wow.
All right.
Also with me are my co-hosts who keep interrupting me. Asa, hello.
Hello.
And Daniel, hello.
Hello.
I didn't get to finish saying hello before you introduced me.
I know, I don't care. I'm shaking things up, you see.
This is off to a great start.
Yeah. I feel like you're not playing along, but okay.
No, I'm loving this.
I know. Daniel, what have you been
Yes.
playing? What have you been doing these past couple of weeks?
Well, even though Acer is going to dunk on me for it, as he rudely put in the Google Doc, I just beat Half-Life. I also beat Half-Life Blue Shift and Half-Life Lost Coast. And then Acer told me, stop playing Half-Life and get A-Life.
I never said that.
What a classic.
Yes, you did. Don't lie to me.
Did you like them?
Anyways. Some yes, some no.
Yes.
What exactly
So-
is Blue Shift and Lost Coast?
I'll explain. So,
What a rude host. Don't you think Bouken is a rude host, Daniel?
Hey, we're
yeah,
we're 1.5 minutes into this podcast and we're already talking about the topics.
hey man, we need to give Bouken a little bit of slack. He's nervous. It's his first time as host. Just gotta let him, get a feel for the host position.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Excuse
okay.
me for bringing
So-
some fucking efficiency into this.
You don't want to feed into the German stereotype too much.
Oh my god.
See, I don't believe in stereotypes, but apparently I'm very stereotypical.
You are.
At least you don't listen to Rammstein.
That's true.
You don't like Rammstein.
No,
I feel
they
like
suck.
we've never talked about this many times. I think they're
But
fine.
anyways, so to answer your question, Blue Shift is basically an expansion, but it was originally meant to be an extra campaign that was going to release on the Dreamcast version of Half-Life, which never actually came out.
That's the Barney expansion, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I found it very mediocre. like cripplingly mediocre. I would go as far as to say that unless you're like a Half-Life fanatic, like you could skip it. The only reason I played through is because it was pretty short. I literally beat it in 2 sittings. It can be beaten in like 2 to 3 hours. And I just thought like, oh, even if it's not that great, I'll just play through it real quick, get it out of the way. Why not? It's more Half-Life. Half-Life is good. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really need to do that. It felt like kind of a waste of time. Like, you don't really learn anything new. It's just... I mean, the only thing you really learn, I guess, is you see how Barney survived. And that's about it. And I don't really think that was, like, anything you really needed to know. I also played a little bit of Opposing Force, which is another Half-Life expansion. I don't know if that one is like Blue Ship. I don't think it was like tied to any other like ports or anything like that. It might have, but I'm not sure. I only played a little bit of that though, so I'll probably have it finished by the time we record the next episode. Lost Coast though is a little bit more interesting. So Lost Coast is very, very short. It is literally like 20-30 minutes, if that.
It's a tech
This
demo,
is more of a-
yeah?
Yes, it is a tech demo for Half-Life 2, but more than a tech demo, it's technically also cut content. Originally, it was supposed to be in Half-Life 2 itself, but either they felt it wasn't up to snuff, or they couldn't find a good way to integrate it into the story, or what have you. So they decided, we'll just, it's still pretty cool. So we'll just give it away for free. You can download it and then check it out. It also comes with commentary, which I thought was pretty neat. And I played it with the commentary because I figured it's so short. It's basically a tech demo. I might as well get the most out of it during that one playthrough. And it was mostly about HDR. It was mostly them showing like, hey, we did this and that to get the water effects. We did this and that to get the color correction just right. And we went through this sort of testing in order to make sure that the lighting was correct in terms of emulating how the human eye perceives light. I thought that stuff was pretty interesting.
There was a point in the commentary where they noted that the reason the level starts with you walking up basically a mountain to a little town. They based that design on the mountain in Half-Life 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah, and in the commentary, they actually said that they were they personally felt disappointed that they couldn't really elaborate on that in Half-Life 2 more. Because I guess because I haven't played through Half-Life 2 yet, but I'm apparently you don't have much stuff like that. I did play a little bit of Half-Life 2, a little bit, to get a feel for it. But yeah, I thought
are you going to continue or are you done?
I want to go back to Opposing Force first. I want to get all the Half-Life 1 content out of the way before I get to the Half-Life 2 content. Apparently, Opposing Force is a little bit shorter than the main campaign, but it's like 6 to 8 hours, something like that. An interesting thing, though, both Opposing Force and Blue Shift are made by Gearbox. I did not know that going into it. But most people seem to agree that Blue Shift is not that good, but that Opposing Force is much, much better. And that's actually like... Some people even say that they prefer it over the main game. So that'll be interesting. I don't know. I think it'll be fun to see where I land between the two. But as for the main game itself, I really liked it, but... you'll probably have heard this before.
Zen.
Yes. I didn't like it as much when I got to Zen. I can definitely see why people don't like Zen. Basically, the entire game is based around like, indoor environments and fighting against the soldiers and sometimes the aliens. Actually, I think the soldiers are like the best part of Half-Life 1. I think the AI for them is really tight and fighting them is a lot of fun. So that's not to say that fighting the aliens sucks, but like, I definitely felt like there was a lack of variety in the enemies when I was in Zen because it's all of them are just the aliens. And Zen also focuses a lot on platforming, and the platforming in the main game is pretty sparse, and when you have to do it, it's usually not anything too bad. But in Zen, you have to jump on moving platforms, and the controls are not really suited for that kind of thing. And you also have to do that weird maneuver in order to do the, I think it's called like the high jump, or the running jump, or whatever it's called. You have to like literally crouch and then jump and then crouch again in order to do it right. It's weird.
Did you just discover the crouch jump?
No, the crouch jump is a different thing. The crouch jump is literally just jumping and crouching in midair.
Oh, okay.
This is a different type of jump where you have to run, crouch, jump, and then crouch again in the air in order to do like a long jump. And this, I think it only works at the very end of the game where you get like a jetpack or something.
Huh.
It's weird.
I fucking remember DSP doing a playthrough of the first Half-Life, and he did not know what a crouch jump is, so he got so stuck on a specific part of the game where he needed to do that. And everyone was just having a blast laughing at him because he's so clueless.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think the game ever explains to you.
that's the funny part about it. It's just you're supposed to know that, because it was so big back in the day.
It's such an unintuitive thing, though. You wouldn't expect that.
How would you know that you grow smaller by crouching in midair? Like, what?
I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense because when you crouch, you're like, you as a person do become smaller, I guess.
Yeah.
But to then extrapolate that to a jump is weird.
I feel like System Shock 2 had a much better system where you basically scale things you jump at.
But yeah, I enjoyed Half-Life. The final boss was weird. The final boss, it felt less like a boss and more like a puzzle because it was less about fighting the boss itself and it was more about breaking these crystals, and then you had to attack the boss, and then it opened up its head and you had to jump into its head. It was a thing. But at first I struggled a lot with it, but then I figured out that the Magnum breaks the crystals almost immediately, and then the boss became a joke. But the thing is, for what tripped me up for a while was I didn't even know I was supposed to break the crystals. I was unloading rocket launchers at the boss, and then it kept teleporting. I was like, what the fuck is up with this boss? And then that's when I realized, oh, the crystals are feeding it energy. I need to break the crystals first.
Did you never play Dark Souls?
Seath?
Yes.
What thief? What just happened?
Seath, the dragon.
Okay. I was thinking about the Bed of Chaos.
No, the blind dragon Seath.
Yes, I know who Seath is. Thanks.
Yes, he's also scaleless.
He's also in Kingsfield.
Wait, what?
Hmm.
He is?
There's not him. There's a dragon called Seath, but it's a completely different mythology.
Does he also not have scales?
No, he's one of the two dragons who created the universe, I believe. He's the good dragon.
Is he?
That's kind of weird from the same creators to just bring back a dragon with the same name.
I think it's just a reference, kind of just a little
That's
wink
not even
and
a
nod.
reference. That's just lazy.
That's not lazy. I don't agree with that. Lazy. Come on.
Well,
it's a completely different character. It's just the name.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so weird. You can't come up with another name for a big dragon.
It's just a throwback.
I'm sure they could have.
They have nothing to do with one another. What are you throwing back to?
It's a dragon.
It's a dragon.
What is this?
What kind of argument is that? Oh, they couldn't come up with I'm sure they could have come up with a million names. They just decided it'd be cool to do a light reference to Kingsfield because the Dark Souls games are aesthetically and mechanically very similar to the Kingsfield games, and Hidetaka Miyazaki himself loved the Kingsfield games growing up before he became an employee at From Software, and he specifically based the way that he made the Souls games on Kingsfield. It makes total sense to throw a little reference like that.
I disagree that this is a light or subtle reference to literally reuse the name for your big dragon thing.
Whatever.
That you've already used.
I mean, you must understand, though, that they could have come up with a new name. That's not the issue. Chose to just name him the same thing.
Yeah, I know. And then I find that a weird decision. I don't know. I mean, it's not a big deal, obviously. If it was a light reference, I would say you could make a reference if you call one of the minions of the dragon in Dark Souls Seath or something.
I think that Ostrava from Demon Souls is a reference to Jean Alfred Forrester from Kingsfield. Because they basically have the same backstory where they were learning in a different land, and then they heard a rumor about their father and they came back, except Ostrava sucks and he's always in need of help, whereas I think he's like a fun little reference to the Kingsfield protagonist, basically.
Okay.
What if the Kingsfield protagonist was in the Demon Souls universe and he sucked? That's Ostrava.
That would be funny.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, I just think it's weird. I just think it's really weird how you say, "Oh, it's lazy." No, they could have come up with a million names. I'm sure it's not hard to come up with a name.
And they didn't even put in that much effort. What does that tell you, Daniel?
He's the host, Daniel. You can't disagree with him.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
That's just because you're ill-equipped to respond.
Exactly. Can't even form a coherent opinion on this one.
Daniel, you're trying to turn your own irreverence as some kind of damning sign of the work rather than step back when you're ill-equipped to speak.
Oh, man. People are going to have no idea what you're talking about. Don't.
Anyway,
let's move on.
Asa.
No, I'm not done yet.
Oh, yes,
fuck,
you
got
are.
another topic. Oh, I don't care about this one.
What do you mean you don't care?
Well, in that case...
No, please go on, Daniel.
I don't think I like Bouken being host anymore. Look at this passive-aggressive bullshit. Oh, my God. At least when Acer was host, you know, he clown around. I feel like a little tension with Bouken being host.
What?
Jesus.
I don't like this topic, so I'm just not going to let you talk about it.
I honestly forgot, okay? Because it's
You
on
literally
the
were
docket
like-
list. On the docket list, it's Half-Life, Samus, and then another Half-Life. And I thought Daniel was done.
Okay, so I beat Samus Returns. Yay. It's really good. It's honestly way better than I was anticipating. It was so good, in fact, that I did a 100% run. I found every single missile. I found every single health pack. I found every single bomb. You know, I found everything that you could pick up. And that's actually the first time I've ever done that in a Metroid game. Partly because finding stuff in this game is so much easier than any other game in the series. Mostly because of that ability that the game gives you, where you can scan a good chunk of the area around you, and it basically tells you where stuff is.
Like the Map-O-Matic from Ratchet and Clank. Speaking of which, I played Ratchet and Clank, the Nexus game.
Saw that one coming.
Good for you. Let me finish. I played that game too, by the way. But anyways, so Samus Returns, I can't really judge it as a remake because I've never actually played The Return of Samus on the Game Boy. So as a remake, it might suck. I have no idea. But just looking at it as a Metroid game, just on its own, I think it's a lot of fun. I think the combat is actually the best in the whole series. It is a lot of fun. You have more abilities in this game than pretty much any other. Being able to aim in any direction with the L button is really great. And some of the abilities you get are just so much fun. You have that a rapid fire, like gun turret ability. Some of the stuff that you can do is really fun. Like, this is something that the game never tells you, but if you curl up into the spider ball and then use a power bomb, it actually shoots you across the room. Which is an ability that has never been in any other game in the series. And it made for occasionally it made for some like interesting ways to get abilities, and you can even use it during a boss fight. One of the it isn't the final boss, but like one of the later boss fights, you have to fight the Mother Metroid. I think it's called the Omega Metroid or something like that. It's probably the Mother Metroid. And while you're fighting it, you can actually use that against it, so you can like hit it in the head and do a lot of damage. So, really good game. The only thing is it's not as good as AM2R, which you can get for free. And
but you won't go to jail if you get this one.
That's true. That's true. I don't think anyone's going to go to jail for downloading AM2R, though.
I think they will. In jail for video game crimes.
Probably not. You'll probably be fine. That being said, though, even though I think both of them have their strengths and weaknesses, I think both of them are great games worth enjoying for different reasons. I would definitely suggest getting both of them. So yeah, Samus Returns, great game. I highly recommend it. And if you wanted a more action-oriented Metroid game, this is the one to pick up. It's really good. It's kind of a shame, though, because the game didn't sell that well. I think it only sold like 500,000, which for Nintendo is not super great. But
oh my god.
Oh well.
I recommend the speedrun they did on the last Games Done Quick, whatever the fuck that was. Should be Awesome Games Done Quick 2019. No, 2020. They did a speedrun on that, and it's very enjoyable.
Alternatively, you can just play the game, people.
Yes.
Well, I can recommend it to Daniel. Maybe he's interested in checking it out.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe. I haven't watched a ton of speedruns, but sure, why not? I did watch a speedrun of Super Metroid, though, back in the day, which was pretty cool, but...
Don't worry, it's over quick.
Yeah, I feel like Super Metroid, though, is a little bit overplayed when it comes to speedruns, because that game basically invented speedrunning.
Yeah. I never followed the Metroid speedruns. I like the Zelda speedruns more. And it's kind of interesting to see these games still evolve in their runs. Like even the old ones where they come up with the really busted shit.
Yeah.
See, I would have thought you would have found the the Metroid ones more interesting because of the sequence breaking.
Apparently, there's a major...
I don't like sequence breaking is the thing, and I don't understand the sequence breaks when I haven't played the Metroid games.
Okay.
Apparently, there's some major developments in Kingsfield speedrunning right now, which I find just baffling that people are still trying to speedrun those games.
Well, somewhere out there, every game is being speedrun.
That is probably
I saw
true.
I saw a speedrun for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I lost my shit. I was like, why? But I wanna watch at least some of it, because maybe watching it will help me appreciate the game more. Because this person, let me see this speedrun again, because I was shocked at how quick. 4 hours. This person beat it in 4 hours.
That's long for a speedrun.
Yeah.
This is like an 80-hour RPG.
Yeah, but they always find some broken shit to basically go to the end of the game.
Isn't the moral in speedrun just a guy walking into the mountain, like he picks up like a dagger somewhere and then just kills Dagoth?
Probably.
So,
I know the Diablo 1 speedrun is like talking to the vendor in the first town over and over again until you get a specific item. And then you just rush to the end of the dungeon and beat the boss. It's so dumb.
I don't know. I just think beating like freaking 80, 100-hour RPG in like 4 hours is insane. So I probably won't watch the whole thing because it's 4 hours, but I at least want to check out some of it and be like, okay, maybe there's some stuff in this game that I'm missing, and that maybe I can watch this speedrun, and maybe I'll be like, oh, okay, maybe there's actually some tech in the gameplay that I'm missing that I can appreciate more, and maybe it'll make the game more interesting for me, because nothing else about that game is interesting.
I don't think it is that, because they just find the most broken abilities, and they find a bunch of shortcuts where they can skip large chunks of the content, and then that's most RPG speedruns.
Well, maybe, but like based on what I saw, I already saw something that I didn't know about, where like the guy was, I didn't hear the full explanation, but he was doing a thing where he kept canceling the first attack, and he kept attacking over and over really quickly. And I was like, how the fuck do you do that? Because normally the way the game goes, it's like your character does like this really slow 3-hit combo, and it's just like agonizing to watch. But this guy was going like, brah, 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 brah.
That's probably like
holy shit.
A dash cancel or block cancel or some shit like that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's stuff like that that makes me go like, okay, maybe I need to watch this just to see like some of this stuff that I'm missing so that the game will be more interesting.
Did I ever tell you guys about that idea I had for like a really high concept speedrun game?
No.
Where basically it's a regular game, but if you speedrun it, the game notices sequence breaks and then it starts playing a different version of it.
What do you mean? Like you go to different levels?
Well, basically the narrative acknowledges that you are breaking the narrative. And it's kind of like getting out of the Matrix. All of a sudden you're in a different game.
That sounds interesting.
It does, but, you know,
that stuff... It's fun conceptually, but execution-wise, like, are you then going to speedrun the speedrun game?
Well, yeah, exactly. I think... that is going to be funny once, and then it will just become part of the speedrun.
Yeah. But I think it would be more fun for average players. Because all of a sudden
But I think that has less to do... That has less to do with speedrunning the game, though, and that has more to do with sequence breaking.
That is true.
Which isn't necessarily tied to speedrunning.
But you could also just do speedruns where, like, okay, if they reach this area in this time and whatever.
The average gamer doesn't speedrun.
No, but I think that if the average gamer likes this game and then they realize that, holy shit, the speedrunning community discovered a completely different game inside the game, then I think a lot of people would go, oh, maybe it's something worth checking out again.
Sure.
I just think it's a fun concept.
Yeah. That's going to be difficult to make because you need, if you want to keep that a secret, you need something else that you can market your game on.
That is true.
Anyway, let's move on, I think.
Yes.
Bouken,
if it's okay with you, I would like for Daniel not to be allowed to speak during my portion of the podcast.
No,
that is not in my power. We are not on Zoom.
Oh.
I cannot mute him.
Sorry, too bad. I'm going to keep talking. Fuck you.
Fine. But I feel like Daniel, since he has lost his host duties, I feel like he's been talking a bit too much, if you get me, Bouken. So maybe we should kick him off the chat. No, wait, I'm editing it. That would be a problem.
Please talk about your topics now.
I can't believe this mutiny.
I played Ratchet Nexus, Ratchet and Clank, Into the Nexus or whatever it's called.
Did you really?
I really did. It's the only Ratchet and Clank game I hadn't finished. So I played it to completion.
It's very short.
It is very short. It's not as short as I thought it would be. When people told me it was short, it's like 4 or 5 hours, something like that. I thought
it's longer than Quest for Booty.
Yes, but it's not that long of a game though.
There's a game called Quest for Booty?
They all have sex puns.
Okay.
Booty not referred to the gluteus maximus, but rather pirate booty.
Yes. Ratchet 2 is going commando. Ratchet 3 is up your arsenal.
Yes.
Well, the Future series doesn't do puns, do they?
No,
well,
they did Tools of Destruction. Well, I guess you can kind of...
What is the sex pun in Up Your Arsenal?
Up your arse?
Like arse?
Yeah.
Arse.
Oh.
I mean, I guess a crack in time, but not really.
It was so obvious I missed it completely.
Anyway, yeah, the Future series, we've talked about this before. They sort of softened the edge of Ratchet and Clank. And the title, just removing the sex puns from the title. Yeah. Anyway, Nexus. It's probably my favorite out of the Future trilogy. If only because it's the most fun to play. Because
it's fun.
I don't particularly like the stories in any of the Future series. I feel like they really just did a bad job of advancing this universe. But
I think a Crack in Time story was pretty decent.
Yeah, well, people say that. I don't quite agree. I think that story is decent if it weren't Ratchet and Clank. I feel like that is so far removed from Ratchet and Clank that it warrants being its own license, almost.
That's fair. I can see that. But I think that's when you're comparing it to like the original trilogy.
That's true. And there are stuff in it
like
that I like.
The original trilogy had that snark. It had that sardonic, like, sarcastic vibe to it that's completely missing in Future.
Oh yeah. But into the Nexus, wherever you live, whoever localized it. First of all, I don't understand why they need to rename these games for the European market. I don't get it, but they do. It's fun if you skip all the cutscenes, which was what I did after about an hour of playing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because you're like all the fun stuff. All the innovations they made to the remake of the first game, like the jetpack hover sections, where you're it's Ratchet and Clank, but you're flying. That was in Nexus first, and aside from that, it's just like a really tight gauntlet with some boring puzzles every now and then. I will say, it shocked me that there was a section in that game where it was like BioShock, where you were like in the darkness and you had a flashlight and you were walking around in an abandoned orphanage looking for like audio logs. Like what is that? Has nothing to do with his license. I found that incredibly weird.
When did this game come out?
2010?
No, when did the remake come out? That's 2017, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is 2014, so around there.
Okay, so it's not even a BioShock is the big thing right now. Let's do that too.
No.
Okay, it came out 2013.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just found it to be incredibly weird that they are stretching this license into so many different directions. I think so Bouken, when you did the Star Wars commentaries, I always note that I like silly Star Wars. I think that's because I played a lot of Ratchet and Clank when I was younger. And that sort of bled into my appreciation of silliness in sci-fi. I don't understand why they can't do a Ratchet and Clank game that is true to the originals anymore.
Yeah, the remake especially was very disappointing because the game is still fun to play, but like, man, that story can just throw it in the dumpster. There's nothing of substance in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ratchet and Clank, the Nexus dealie, it's fine. It's like very cheap. You can play it, you can have fun with it, skip the cutscenes.
Yeah.
I will say that this does seem to me to be like this could have been really well regarded if it had been its own thing, because if it had just been like this junker clunker aesthetic future where there's a section where you're in a sewer and you're flying about this massive empty almost dilapidated sewage, it's there are moments of brilliance if it just was its own thing. Maybe I don't understand why they keep shackling it to the Ratchet and Clank license.
But I think another thing that holds it back is that it feels like a side game. Like it's not. It doesn't feel like a full entry in the series because it's so short.
Yeah, but I say for that shortness, it's also the tightest game probably in the series, in terms of I don't think there's any fat to that. Even the Clank mini games, it's the fastest. Clank has never had this short of a short. Well, actually, no, he hasn't. There are moments where he didn't appear at all. But I think that this is a superior game to like Ratchet Gladiator, where that was a real streamlining of a Ratchet game. This is better in that it doesn't remove anything. It's just a really condensed sort of arcadey version of Ratchet.
Real quick, just so people listening aren't confused, Gladiator was deadlocked in the States.
Yes. So, Ratchet and Clank, Into the Nexus, whatever it was called, wherever it was released near you. I kind of liked it. Story can fuck off, but I liked it. I also watched a couple of movies. The first one is Knives Out. Did you guys watch that?
I did.
No.
What did you like it?
I liked it. I have a problem with it, but I cannot talk about it if we don't go into spoilers.
Okay, let's not go into spoilers. I really liked it. I feel like Rian Johnson, obviously director, his image was really tarnished by touching the Star Wars brand. Not so much because of the quality of the movie he made, but just because the people who don't like it really hate him. I feel like
because of it, yeah.
I feel like if you dislike Knives Out because of Rian Johnson, you are making a concentrated effort into not liking it.
Yeah, I mean, technically, it's well paced, it's funny,
it's well structured. I think it's just an incredibly well made movie, and I really liked it.
I just think it's a whodunit story basically, and I think the solution is given away fairly early on.
Yeah.
And it keeps stringing you along for another hour when it was basically already clear what the solution is going to be. And that bothered me.
There is a gimmick to the solution they give you early on, which if a logical person had been in that room, they would have said, no, let's do this here instead. And everything would be resolved much easier. So there is, you have to buy into that. That's sort of.
We mean different things, but okay.
No, I'm talking about another thing.
Okay.
I'm already lost.
Yeah.
Me too.
This conversation is it's too layered in secrecy, so we'll wait until Daniel has watched the movie to talk about this again. But I really liked that movie. I also watched Jojo Rabbit. Did you guys watch that?
No.
Okay, I think that's a superior movie. I liked it much more. That movie is incredible. Taika Waititi playing Hitler is about the funniest thing I've seen in probably years. And it's made by Taika Waititi, very funny. It's a funny movie, but it's also really emotional. So, spoiler alert for World War II, the Nazis lost. And you see that in the movie. And there's a scene near the end. I'm not going to spoil exactly what happens, but it involves Sam Rockwell. And that scene, there's so much humanity to the Nazis in that scene, which I was surprised by, because usually they're just played off as like monsters. But in Jojo Rabbit, it's, they are human beings, and they're living in a really shitty time in the world. And I was so surprised by that. And I thought it really worked. I cannot recommend that movie enough. Sam Rockwell is in it. He's incredible. He's always incredible in everything he does. Scarlett Johansson's in it. She's good. Everybody's good in it. Really funny. Really good movie.
What is the plot of the movie?
It's... So Jojo is the main character, and he really wants to be a Nazi. And he's like a 10-year-old boy or something. But the thing is, he doesn't know what the hell a Nazi is. He's just a brainwashed little kid. And he has Hitler as his imaginary friend. And his version of Hitler is like the silliest character in the world. Because he also doesn't know who Hitler is.
So is it like the Hitler version in... the Wolfenstein: The New Colossus?
No, not like that. It's that. So there's a moment early on where Jojo is unable to kill a rabbit, and all the other Nazi kids, they're laughing at him like, "Haha, you're weak. You're not strong enough." And then his imaginary friend Adolf Hitler comes like, "So what? You couldn't do it. People called me crazy things too. He's a psychopath. He's going to get us all killed. But who's laughing now?" It's his version of Hitler keeps changing because it's just an imaginary friend, basically. And he has no real connection to Adolf Hitler in reality. And anyway, this kid is just living in Nazi Germany at the time. And he discovers that his mom is hiding a Jew in their attic. And that girl, she's a girl, the Jewish girl. It's basically about Jojo becoming a friend with her during the worst time in human history. And it's a comedy, but if you were to just remove the jokes from the movie, you'd realize that it's an incredibly harrowing story. And I don't get how it manages to skirt the line so perfectly. So I can't recommend that movie enough.
Okay.
I don't know if Daniel will get it, though.
What is that supposed to mean?
Just being mean.
He's still drunk on the D-Day victory.
What?
What does that mean? Daniel won't get it.
No, but I really want.
Because I'm American.
No, I just said that. I really want to know though about
Sometimes Acer just says things.
I was hoping you could make a funny joke for me, Daniel. I really want to note again though that it really did surprise me how much humanity the Nazis have in this movie. I could not imagine anybody trying to tell me a movie about the Nazis are the good guys. Well, they're not the good guys, but they are presented with this much empathy, and you will buy it. But you totally do.
The only movie I can think of that does something like, I mean, I'm guessing Jojo Rabbit is a lot more comedic, and this is not a comedic movie. But you know that movie that was they use that meme for, where like Hitler tells all the people to exit the room, and then he takes his glasses off and he starts yelling and screaming.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That movie is called Downfall, and that's actually like a really good movie. And I wouldn't say that it portrays the Nazis as good guys or anything like that, but like it does a good job of making portraying them as more human.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're not just like inhuman monsters. They do show like some people were, you know, on the inside were like, Hitler's fucking crazy. We need to stop this. You know, they even did a good job of portraying Hitler as not just like this evil monster the entire time. He had his moments where he was, you know, he seemed like a normal person. So that was a really good movie and did a good job of not just going the black and white route of just like, man, Nazis bad. And because we all know that what the Nazis did were horrible, you know, like that doesn't need to be reiterated. This movie does a really great job of showing the more a more nuanced take of, you know, what it was like to be in that, in like someone's shoes in the bunker with Hitler in like the final days.
I should note, just in case I didn't make the point, it's not that the Nazis are good guys in this movie. It's just that it is what you said. There is a humanity to them, and the movie does not skirt around the fact that these are human beings with real emotions and their own actualized version of themselves.
That did horrible, horrible, horrible things.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I highly recommend that movie. Bouken, what did you do?
Cool.
Great. I played and finished Nioh 2. Well, I guess I'm not finished.
You finished it?
Yeah.
Cool. How was it?
It is my game of the year so far. I loved it. It's a weird hybrid of not really character action. People call it a Dark Souls clone, but it's so not. Like the action itself is way faster, and the combat is much more complex. But then on top of that, it has that layer of Diablo 2-like weapon grinding.
It does.
And I love that shit so much. That is so up my alley. My alley. Ellie?
I hate that shit.
It's so up your ally. Yes.
It's like the one thing I love Nioh 1, but that's the one thing I fucking hate about it is like all that gear, like, oh, get it out of my face.
Oh god, it's the best. I love gear, so I love loot so much. And
fucking gear whore.
It's not only the gear itself, it's the how robust the whole item system is. The whole just loot system of it's not just that you find loot, it's that you can craft your loot and you can change your loot and you can go to the blacksmith and just create your own items and then farm more items for more materials and create better items and keep switching around stats and all that shit. And I lost myself completely in that. It is crazy how deep that shit goes for a single player game, because I know that kind of shit from Path of Exile, which is a multiplayer game that has been around for 7 years now or 8 years. That is crazy deep. And Nioh 2 isn't that deep, but it's up there. Like, it's holy shit, man. And then on top of that, you get all the different stances and the sub-weapons and the magic and the ninjutsu and oh, fuck.
I need to ask, so did you play this on a base PS4 or a PS4 Pro?
No, PS4 Pro.
Oh, okay.
And I also didn't play the first one. So I feel like I wouldn't love this game as much if I had played the first one, because this was all new to me.
Yeah, based on what I've seen of the sequel, I think going back to the first one might be a little bit harder just because it's more of the same, but like not as polished.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people...
And it looked like they added more stuff in 2 as well. Like there's more mechanics.
Yeah, I think so, yes. I couldn't really figure out what was in the first game and what wasn't. I feel like the weaponsmithing was mostly in the first game.
Yes.
They did add a sort of special, like a God of War God mode, basically, that lasts for a few seconds and gives you a bunch of extra abilities. And
that's in the first one. You do when you press triangle and circle at the same time. Yeah. You unleash your summoned spirit, and it changes your moveset, and you could do more damage for a while.
They did come up with a burst counter, which is just sometimes an enemy will do a special attack where there's a red flash and you need to counter in time, and you can't really block it, and so that's like another layer. It's just crazy how many layers there are to your character, because you get stats from your guardian spirits and then the sub-monster abilities that you slot into your guardian spirit, and then from your equipment and from your skills, and it just keeps going, and you can really min-max your character once you figure out what you want to specialize in.
So the story in the first game was garbage. Is the story also garbage in the sequel?
Yeah, it is. That was the biggest problem for me, was I did not give a single fuck about what was happening. Well, that's not entirely true. It's the typical video game story about people being corrupted. You basically follow Oda Nobunaga on his rise to victory.
Interesting.
And it keeps going after that. And some of the people then, they get corrupted because you're after some kind of weird spirit stone, and they're dangerous and people want to abuse them, and then they turn people into monsters. And the problem with the story is, one, everyone, like, it's very Japanese, and I could not fucking tell these people apart because they all have these Japanese sounding names and they all sound the same to me, and they're just throwing the names of different generals around in between missions, who's who and where, and who has just captured what fucking province. I could not follow a single thing. And
maybe they should have had English names.
Maybe they should have had more memorable characters. Maybe they should have a story that isn't told by text boxes in between missions. And that's the other problem I have with the story, is you your character does everything. Your character is basically cleaning up everyone's shit, and your character is a mute who has no desires whatsoever. My character is a non-character, and everyone else keeps giving orders and taking credit for what I'm doing.
See, I thought that was I get it, but like I thought that was a weird change from the first game. One of the things I liked about the first game is you're not a nobody. You're playing as an actual character.
Yeah,
he has his own thoughts and feelings, and that was, one of the only good things about the story of the first game was that, you're playing as William, and he will comment and be like, "Oh, that guy's such an asshat" or whatever. Like,
is the main protagonist of Nioh 2? Is he also a white guy?
No, you create your own character.
Oh,
so
he
what
was a
I
white
did,
guy
obviously,
in the first game, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah. So since I could create my own character, obviously what I did was create a black gothic chick with a samurai sword. I think that's
of course.
And you say you were playing a nothing character.
That's historically accurate as far as I'm concerned.
Bouken, I did not know that you were into big titty goth GFs.
Who isn't?
True.
Yeah. I think that's a very general appeal.
Even my sister, she was playing Persona 5, and she was immediately like, well, Tei Takemi is my goth GF, and I'm just sticking with her. And I'm like, you pop off, girl. You do you.
But I loved it. I lost myself in the game to the point where I would just kind of look up some of the mechanics that were not really explained, and then I started looking up where I can get some of the gear I wanted, because I had planned to create a character that was mostly spears and rifles. And then because there are so many like equipment sets, and some items just give you set bonuses if you put them all on. So I found the best gear for just doing headshots and then using my rifle and just getting more ammo that I can load per mission. And I just started farming specific bosses over and over. I sat down for 4 hours and looked up farming strategies to kill this one boss over and over and over until he dropped me the smithing text that I can use to actually create the best armor I needed for my rifle build. And I had no problem with that one whatsoever. Like that part of farming for greater goal is really enjoyable to me.
Okay.
And so that's where that is the attitude I have when I play Path of Exile, when I play Diablo. And I did not expect that from such a action-heavy game. And that's why I loved it so much.
All right.
Cool.
Game of the year for you so far?
So far, yes.
Okay.
I'm probably going to wait for the PC version.
You probably... I don't know if you need to play it, honestly. I mean, if you played the first game.
I liked the first game, so yes, I would like to play the sequel.
Okay.
I'm just not in a hurry to play it because I beat the first one not that long ago, and I'd rather not play it on my PS4 at 720p because I have a base PS4, so I don't want to play in like a low resolution.
Well, my PS4 Pro was sounding like a jet engine at parts.
Yeah, apparently they're fixing that in the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Until the next games come out.
Yeah, what's going to happen is the same shit where they're going to be porting a bunch of games and it's like, oh, this is the best version of the game. And then all the games made for PS5 are going to like run like shit. And then it's like, oh, just wait for the PS6 and then those games will run better.
No, I mean the noise. They're fixing the noise. They're removing the fans.
For what?
The PlayStation 5.
Liquid cooling?
Yes.
I mean, you need some kind of cooling system.
Yes. It's going to be... I think it's going to be some complex liquid cooling system, which is why it's probably going to be a bit more expensive than this generation was.
All right.
Interesting.
The PS4 is coming out this year. I have not seen a single reason for why I should give a shit.
What do you mean? You should just give
a
shit.
The PS5, sorry.
Yeah, I don't care either. Not yet, at least.
There are no announcements.
Well, we're going to get an announcement soon. I believe Sony has something to show in a couple of weeks. We know that Geoff Keighley's going to do that games reveal stuff.
But what are there? Are there going to be like 2 launch games?
I don't know. I think Sony has been... okay. The rumor, and I recently came across some information which makes me think this rumor might actually have some legs to it. I dismiss these rumors out of hand, as you guys know. But apparently Sony is indeed making the Silent Hill soft reboot or remake or whatever it is. That is apparently a launch title. Along with, I think, Demon's Souls, the remake, is probably going to be a launch title.
Oh, fuck you.
Well...
that game does not need a remake.
No, I don't think it does. But they are apparently... They have a lot of projects, I believe, currently in the pipeline for the PlayStation 5.
You just gave me the first 2 PS5 games, and it's going to be a reboot and a remake.
Well, the Silent Hill, I think that's a bit more exciting, because they're apparently getting the gang back together. Where it's the here, I think it's
supposedly.
I think it's Ito, Yamaoka, and Owaku. I think are all coming back. Supposedly, I wasn't given any photographs, but I've seen enough now that I think there is something to it.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm not interested in the next generation either. I think that...
Man, that is dire.
But I think they're gonna do fine.
And Xbox have revealed their platform, or at least part of it. And I don't give a fuck either.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think I'm a bit more excited for Sony because I think Sony gets the market better than Xbox does. I think they'll make their games. I think they'll make like, you guys wanted another Jack game. Here's another Jack game. You wanted another this. Here's this.
Yeah, give me all the names I already know. I don't want new IPs, please.
No, they'll probably do that too. Like, look at this.
No, they won't.
They're always doing that. And they did Days Gone. Remember that? Hit.
Oh, that classic.
Do you remember Horizon Zero Dawn?
Oh, that classic.
Remember Bloodborne? Remember The Last Guardian? My point is, I think there is something good coming.
Maybe.
Anyway, Bouken, you're supposed to be a host, and this has been derailed successfully.
I derailed it myself. Because sometimes there can be room for fun. Not for too long. But in moderation, we can talk about more topics.
Not for too long.
I will allow it.
You may only enjoy a moderated amount of fun.
Okay.
I'm also watching a bunch of seasonal anime. None of the shows have finished yet.
What are you, some massive weep like Daniel?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Bouken.
Well, I don't know if I'm as bad as Daniel.
You keep saying that.
I'm sorry, Bouken. I shouldn't have said that about you.
You keep saying shit like that. I don't watch seasonal anime.
No, you play Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, and you're excited to watch a 4-hour speedrun.
Well, yeah, because it looks interesting.
Well, that's fair. Anyway, what seasonal anime have you been watching?
Oh god, what have I been watching? I just want to give the short roundup of the shit I've been watching, which is for one, Gleipnir.
Okay.
That's a shitty show, but it keeps stringing me along because sometimes it's not shitty and I fucking hate it. God, that is a show about a guy who turns into a monster.
Original.
And, well, if you see the monster, it's almost original.
Oh.
But here's the thing. In the first episode, he turns into the monster. He doesn't know why. And then he saves a girl from his school from a burning shack. And then when he saved her, he almost rapes her.
Okay. Tasteful.
And stops himself.
Tasteful.
And then the next day, she starts blackmailing him to team up with him so they can go fight other monsters.
All right.
And
what the hell?
His ability is basically he looks like a mascot, like a sports mascot, and he has a zipper in the back, which opens up to this flashy room of nothing where she can get in and take him over.
What the
And obviously, she has to get almost completely naked.
Well,
when
obviously.
she goes in. Obviously.
Of course she does. Of course she does.
Is this,
what is this
is
trash?
This the show that, is this the show where the girl said something like, "Don't you want to start a family with me?" And then she meant party.
That was Darwin's
That's
Gate.
Darwin's. Alright. Okay, this sounds like a steaming bowl of garbage as well.
It is. But the problem is, I feel like there could be interesting character development there because seemingly the form the monster form you take after you achieve these abilities says something about your personality, and I think you can do something interesting with the concept of his monster form basically needing another person to complete him.
Okay. Do you think they will do something interesting with it?
They keep going there from time to time.
Okay.
And they also have other interesting forms of like other people they fight. The terrible thing about it is just the gratuitous fan service in every fucking episode. Because she, like the main girl character, she has no fucking concept of shame whatsoever. And then they meet other people who also just undress at a moment's notice.
Of course.
And then sometimes like they go into basically a sort of rapey lesbian scene. And then the other times it's played down for laughs. Like, oh, why did you take off your panties too? And I'm like, you're fucking fighting for your survival against huge fucking monsters. What are you doing? It's,
that sounds pretty bad.
God, it is pretty bad. But then sometimes it's not bad. And that's why I still have a modicum of hope that this goes somewhere.
Okay, interesting.
Like, I like trash, obviously, but I don't like trash that also plays up the fan service just for that.
Did we do an episode on fan service?
Yes, the second episode we did, I feel like.
All right. I feel like that was a really strong topic. Anyway, what else have you been watching? We did say
our piece on that. I've also been watching Tower of God, which is a much better show.
I'm disappointed, but interested.
Have you guys seen... Danny, you haven't, but Asa, Hunter?
No.
How much of that have you seen?
I've seen one episode of Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
I've seen maybe a meme somebody made.
Great. Daniel, you should really watch Hunter x Hunter.
I know. I should.
I just randomly rewatched the conclusion of the Chimera Ant arc yesterday, like in YouTube clips, and I was like, this is the most profound fucking thing. Like, this show is so amazing, and everyone who hasn't watched it is really missing out.
I think I watched the Thriller Bark arc.
Fuck off. No, the reason why I'm bringing up Hunter x Hunter is that the first Hunter x Hunter arc is an exam arc where a bunch of people come together to perform in tests. And Tower of God is basically that, because there's a tower, and people live there, and they live outside of the tower, and they you can basically go into these tests to climb the tower and prove that you're worthy. And at the top, if you reach the top of the tower, all your wishes will come true or something.
Okay.
And it's just all these weird fucking characters. Everyone looks different. Everyone looks like they're from a different anime. There's no connecting tissue between the fucking characters. It's really weird. But it's a very lore-heavy show, and a lot of characters just... Everyone has a reason for why they want to go up there, and they kind of just bond over things, and then they fuck over other teammates and just betray them in the exams. And a lot of the exams are not just fighting one another, but it's like fighting but with a twist, or with special rules in which teams can enter and when they can choose to enter and what they have to do within the thing. It's really complex and kind of hard to follow, but it's it's kind of all of the rage right now in seasonal anime, and I understand why. My one problem with the show is that the main character is a dipshit with no powers, except he keeps pulling new powers out of his ass and no one knows where they're coming from. And I
don't think the author knows either.
It's narratively very unsatisfying that this dumbass boy just keeps winning when he has no reason to be winning. Like, everyone is better than him, and then he just randomly comes up with a new power that he can't control. Or someone just comes up, and the first episode is basically someone coming up to him and giving him this awesome sword that fights for him. And he's not equipped to climb this tower at all, but he keeps climbing, and it's fucking annoying. And everyone around him is more interesting than he is. So yeah, but still, good show. So I'm curious where it's going, because it also spends a lot of time on the other characters. And what have I been watching? One Piece is on a break.
Oh.
That bothers me because of Corona. And then I watched 2 episodes of another anime called something KG Balance Unlimited.
Right.
Which was about a rich asshole buying himself into the Japanese police. And he just goes after criminals in the most just destructive way possible. Like, he causes so much collateral damage every time he chases a criminal, and then he just pays everyone he's hurt because he has so much money and he doesn't have to give a shit.
Why does he want to be a cop?
Because he has nothing better to do? Because he has, like, I don't know, he just I feel like he just wants the thrills for his little petty power fantasy of just busting criminals. And then he just, on the chase, crashes into other cars and then just tells his butler to pay the people.
Okay, that does not sound like garbage.
Well, it was okay. The problem is that thing is also on hold because of Corona. There have been 2 episodes. So that's fucked. Yeah. But I'm looking forward for when it comes back. And the last show I'm watching, and this is something I will recommend to Daniel, because I feel like Daniel doesn't watch anime with children or high schoolers.
What?
And he likes his anime more with adult people.
Excuse me?
I do.
What is this?
This is true.
What?
Why wouldn't you recommend that to me? I don't watch anime with high schoolers.
Because you don't watch anime, period.
Okay. I feel like you should have said that then.
Am I wrong?
No, but I mean, the way you put it was like, I only watch anime with high schoolers and children.
No, that was not what I'm saying.
Okay, fine.
But I noticed that Daniel, all the anime he recommends and that he likes, is there are no children there.
There are a lot of children
Very
in
rarely.
Monsters. In Monster.
Yeah. And
I mean, they're not the main characters, except for maybe Dieter, but like, it's not. Anyways, keep going.
The show is called Yesterday o Utate, which means sing yesterday for me. Or sing yesterday to me? I don't know. And it's about...
like a rom-com or something?
Yeah, well, it's not a comedy, but it's a romance slice of life story about this jaded guy in his late 20s who just finished college and has no ambition in life and is just working a shitty part-time job in a convenience store.
Wait a minute. You're recommending this to me?
Yeah.
Is there something you want to say?
No. Not everything is about you, you fuck. The point of the show is that there are a bunch of people from his past who he meets again and who start becoming a part of his life again. And then there's also this other girl that kind of has a crush on him. And so there's a bunch of, love triangle stuff and him trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life. And it's a very quiet and thoughtful show, and sometimes it's cute and sometimes it's a
like
bit real.
It's like The Catcher in the Rye.
I don't know.
Oh.
I never read that book.
You guys haven't?
No.
Oh. It's basically the same thing. It's like this boy who's like an angry teenager, but then he's like growing up and he realizes, oh, man, I kind of sucked, didn't I?
I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah. But they never really talk about him in his high school years. It's all about, college or finishing college.
I think Holden Caulfield from
That's
The Catcher
rare.
in the Rye was also finishing college.
It's pretty rare for anime to delve into college. It's mostly high school.
Yeah. And I mean, this is after college is the thing. And his old college crush that keeps coming back is now starting her teacher career. And she is like a bit more serious with her life. And he's just a bum, basically.
Yeah.
But they still keep hanging out and they have this connection. And then, it keeps going. It's just not a lot of anime are like this, where it's just quiet and
down to earth.
No one's killing anybody. Yeah.
All right.
And I'm enjoying it.
Did you
Okay.
Did you ever watch? I think you recommended it, Bouken.
Mushishi?
Yeah. Did you?
My
you
favorite piece of media of all time. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever watch that, Daniel?
Yes, I have. It's excellent.
Okay. I think the director of that is going to be directing the Uzumaki adaptation from Junji Ito.
That would be interesting.
The director or the mangaka?
The director of the anime.
Okay.
Is that good?
What is Uzumaki?
That's the spiral.
Yeah, it's done by Junji Ito.
So it's horror?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
Well, Mushishi is very not horror.
Okay. But is it well directed?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably good news.
I mean, Mushishi is extremely. It's just like that, basically. It's extremely quiet and thoughtful.
Is there any scene in Mushishi where a man grinds himself to a paste to fit into a barrel?
No.
Oh.
See, that's the thing. What I know about Junji Ito is very fucked up body horror. And Mushishi has some really fucked up shit in it, but it's not reveling in it.
No.
It's treating everything with a lot of dignity.
Okay.
And it's more about like it's about Mushishi is about these weird spirits that most people can't see that influence people in ways that they don't understand, and it's like exploring what happens with these people and what they're feeling.
That's not too far off from Uzumaki. There's this spiral which people see which starts to change and destroy this town. This symbol. Anyway, I just wanted to know. Do you think Mushishi is better than the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh?
I mean, I haven't seen Yu-Gi-Oh in a long time, so I'm not sure.
Oh. I haven't seen Mushishi ever, but I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot of nuance. I don't know about it. Yeah.
It's a hard thing to live up to.
Yes. I mean, there's no trading card game from Mushishi which you can buy in real life, right?
That's true.
That's true.
I feel like that would really, really enhance the IP if you could just trade a bunch of Mushi cards.
Yeah, well, there's no mobile Mushishi game, is there?
Yeah. No.
Which just, bleeds people bankrupt and makes addicts out of them.
See, Mushishi doesn't have the appealing characters that Yu-Gi-Oh has.
No, it doesn't have...
It's just a bunch of people living in the mountains.
Yeah. Get out of that. They don't even have a train. I think, Yu-Gi-Oh did have a train a couple of times.
Yeah,
Mushishi's a pretty great show.
That's all the anime I've watched. I recommend Sing Yesterday to Me, For Me, whatever. And the rest is okay. Tower of God if you want something easier.
Okay. Daniel probably then should watch Tower of God.
Daniel actually should watch The Promised Neverland.
What's that?
Should I?
I mean, okay, it's about kids, but it's very good and it's very short.
I mean, I'm not like anti-kids.
I know Bouken is.
Yeah. I didn't mind those kids, though.
I've seen anime that are like high school slice of life. It's just not like my go-to.
It's just I'm thinking back about the seasonal anime I've watched over the past couple of years. And
is that why you hate children? You've seen too many shitty children in anime?
No, I hate children because they're annoying and they keep yelling when I'm on the train and I just want to be left alone.
I will say, Jojo Rabbit, that is not an annoying kid. He's really fun.
Well, most kids aren't like movie kids.
That's true. Anyway,
I think we're gonna go on a break.
Yes.
And when we come back, that is not our break music.
I don't know the break music.
It's not.
Why?
Not even close. What do you mean? How can you not know?
I just put it in the video.
A bunch of edit episodes.
I don't listen to the episodes after I edit them. I listen to them while I'm editing them.
See, our break music is also the music that plays on my PS4 main menu. Because I have the Persona 5 theme, so that...
Oh, yeah, it's like... Down, 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 down.
No. Oh. Anyway, we're going to be back with the essay question.
Tell me in the comments if my attempts at the music were correct. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down. Down, 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 down.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time for the essay. Well, it's not a question, I guess. But we're going to talk about media consumption habits.
But didn't the intermission sound a lot like what I was singing earlier? Keep in mind that I edited this podcast.
I don't know what the... Oh, God. I gotta put in Yu-Gi-Oh! Music or some shit.
I was thinking I'd just put in me doing that. I'll just cut that audio from myself and I'll just paste it again.
Smart. Should commission a piece of music using the notes you sung.
Oh, no, I'm not going to put that much effort into it. Anyway,
media consumption habits.
What is this topic?
It's just something I I thought about recently because when you said you are watching Futurama again for the second time, after you've already watched it again with commentary, and I was like, why? Why are you doing that? Because that is something I would never do. I've been interested in some commentary tracks on certain things. For example, there was one on the Madoka episodes that I downloaded, and I wanted to watch that, but I didn't feel like it because I didn't feel like going through the same thing again.
Okay.
And so I noticed you doing that with Futurama, and remember when you overlapped me while I was finishing up Monster, you watched it twice in a row. And that just made me think about how differently we consume these types of media.
Yes.
So what is it with you? Why are you so weird?
I feel like I'm...
What a call out.
I feel like I'm exceptionally normal here. What do you mean, why am I so weird? It's just, I like to watch it. I thought it was fun the first time. I'll watch it again. Thanks for listening.
I'm just trying to understand why. Like, aren't there other things you want to watch?
No.
I feel like the moment I have finished doing something, I immediately want to move on to the next thing because already in my backlog, 10 new things have just piled up. And I've already planned out the next 3 things I want to watch or play.
Yeah, but that's because, see, this is again goes to the economics of consumption here, which we've talked about before. You guys consume media so inefficiently compared to me. So in the time it takes you to watch one anime, I will watch that anime and play a video game.
No! That's bullshit!
But let's be real here, do you always do that?
Not always. Not if it's like... Not if I'm in the... If I go to like the cinema, I won't be playing a video game on my phone or anything.
Did you play a game while watching the second run of Monster? Or the first one?
I think I was programming.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
I think so. No, I was playing Silent Hill 3.
What?
While watching Monster?
Yeah.
The first time?
Not the first time. I think the second time.
Okay. So
I feel like they overlapped.
I feel like if you're doing a rewatch, I think that's more understandable.
Yeah.
I don't totally agree with it. I wouldn't do it, but I can at least understand, like, well, you've already seen it. Why not?
I feel like I was playing Tetris or something the first run.
You gotta be fucking
That is so weird. Like, that just makes it weird in a way.
No, I'm joking. Just like a game with absolutely no substance. If it's good media, I'll watch it alone. The first run of Monster, I think for the first few episodes I was watching it while I was playing something, and then I realized like, oh, actually I'll just watch this. I'm enjoying this.
So that's your default state.
Yeah. Well,
you weren't even giving it a chance at first.
I gave it a chance.
Impress me.
No, you didn't.
Impress me, media, or I will not give you my full attention.
Yeah, because the alternative is watching every piece of garbage like you do. There is no middle ground.
Yes. Well, I do tend to finish the garbage I start.
Yeah, see, this is where... Okay, see, you throw the gauntlet down. I'm going to pick it right back up. Your consumption of media is even dumber than mine. Because you watch things which are actively bad, and you know they're bad. But I guess you get a weird sense of enjoyment from watching bad stuff.
See, let's clear one thing out right now. I did not mean to attack you. I mean, I totally disagree on just watching a lot of shows.
Sure.
What?
You totally didn't mean to attack him. Sure.
What? What the fuck do you want from me? I vehemently disagree on for a lot of shows you shouldn't be doing anything else on the sides. But I have my own very weird habits and rituals, so I will not judge anybody else. And yes, finishing.
You totally did.
Finishing. No. We already had this discussion.
What discussion?
About you just playing fucking Hollow Knight while watching Fate Zero and then not understanding a thing.
Either of them.
I understood both of them.
I'm sure.
No.
Yes, I
it's
did.
Not true.
Give me the trivia, Daniel. This is the trivia game where Acer humiliates his co-hosts.
But I vehemently disagree with that. I did not mean to attack you on the watching Futurama twice in a row thing, because that's just.
I wanted to listen to John DiMaggio's impersonation of Tracy Morgan again.
That is something that I'm trying to understand rather than judge.
I mean, it's just you need to read a good book a few times before it sinks in completely. It's the same with this. It just you watch it, and if you watch it again, you'll pick up on nuances you didn't before.
You will. It's just, for me, that is a time management thing where I could be watching or playing so much else. But at the same time, a lot of the shows that I really like, or a lot of the games that I really like and go back to a few years later, I've never regret that.
No.
Because if it keeps being good and you pick up on all these things and you know where it's going and suddenly you see things differently, that is cool.
Yeah. I think the reason I won't say that I do it all the time. It is actually pretty rare that I'll just rewatch something or replay it immediately. I did it for Monster, and I'm doing it now for Futurama. Usually I don't do that. But I'm doing it mainly. I did it for Monster because I didn't want to lose the Monster vibe. And I'm doing it now for Futurama because I don't want to lose the Futurama vibe just yet. You get me? I'm in like an ambient space in my head where I'm like totally on board with it.
I guess, but for me, when like similar to Bouken, when I'm done with something, I'm fucking done. I'm moving on. Very rare, like almost never. I will like, okay, I loved that. I need to do it again right when I finish. Like for me, it's like my mind has gone. Okay, the book has been closed. It's time to open up a new book. Or, a new game, or a new show, or whatever it is.
I feel like Daniel is the least qualified person here to be criticizing other people's consumption habits of media. When he wrote, and I will reiterate this, he wrote a fan script of Fate Zero where he inserted himself...
I did not.
As Saber's boyfriend.
That is a lie.
And he sent that to me.
That is a lie.
And he genuinely thought I wouldn't notice.
What the fuck does that mean? That you wouldn't notice? How would you not notice? How does one slyly slip that by? What the fuck are you saying? I'm just gonna slip this on the down low to Acer of all people. What the fuck does that mean?
New character.
Your story is falling apart.
There was this new character named Daniel of Sargon, and I was like, interesting.
Oh, don't fucking... No! You had to use Sargon? Get out of here. That guy's a fucking prick. Don't associate me with him.
That was just the first thing that came in my head. It was supposed to be a name of a place. Wasn't Sargon an emperor somewhere?
Yes.
I should have probably said like...
so, but
I should have said like Daniel of Macedonia.
His name has been co-opted.
I should have said Daniel of Macedon or something like that. And I did. And that's what you wrote in your script.
I did not. There's no script exists. I would never write something like that.
I will upload the script. I still have my copy. I'll upload it someday.
I have never written fan fiction in my fucking life. I would never do anything so degenerate.
Hey, some people like it.
I wrote...
Good for them. I ain't one of them.
I tried making my own Yu-Gi-Oh series. I thought it would have been pretty good. I feel like you're calling me out here just because I like to...
Daniel, what are some weird habits you have when you approach a new media?
A new media. I mean, I think that depends.
Well,
so there are certain games where, if they're very gameplay focused, I will almost always, like, let's say Xenoblade Chronicles 2, since that keeps getting brought up for some reason.
It's not for some reason. It's because you, exclusively you, keep bringing it up.
I mean, it's a fun punching bag. But the point is that game is pretty slow and tedious, and it has long stretches of gameplay. And I will put on YouTube analysis or podcasts or audiobooks or whatever while I'm playing them, because, like, what am I hearing that I absolutely need to hear in the game? The characters screaming their attacks again?
I feel like
the characters grunting? Like,
I feel like I made the
cares?
exact same point with Hollow Knight, and you two jumped down my throat.
No,
What am I
because
hearing?
Hollow Knight has a lot of very thick
What am I
atmosphere.
hearing in Hollow Knight? Just a bunch of raindrops in, like, bloop.
Dude, Hollow Knight
No,
has one of the most atmospheric areas I have ever seen in Deep Nest. That shit is insane.
I don't know if I went that far.
even that aside, like, there's a big difference between like playing a game and listening to a podcast, and playing a game and having a show running at the same time.
I think
There
there is.
absolute.
I feel like this is such a nebulous differentiation.
It is not.
It's really not.
So when it comes to watching a show and movies, I have to give it my full attention, because it is both an audio and visual experience, where both are so integral to the experience that divorcing one from the other, you're fundamentally missing a piece of it, like a substantial part of what makes it what it is.
Yeah.
Now, you can make that argument for video games as well. Fair enough. But for me personally, if I'm playing, like, Kingdoms of Amalur or something, which I don't even care about the story, and, like, whatever, the sound doesn't make a difference to me. I don't care about the music or whatever. Like, for me, I will put on my podcast. I will put on the 2-hour Noah Caldwell Gervais fucking, like, analysis video about Alice the Madness Returns or whatever. And I'll enjoy them like that. But Fate Zero is for one, is a beautiful show. It deserves to be looked at.
I looked
not
at
just
it
heard.
every now and then.
You should, yeah, but you should be looking at it at all times. But now we're talking about this again,
But, like, but, like, let's say I'm playing, like, Xenoblade again, whatever, just to bring it back to that because it's fun. Whenever a cutscene appears, I will pause whatever podcast or video or whatever, and I'll pay attention.
Oh yeah, I do that too. But there's no such there wasn't any cutscene or anything in Hollow Knight. But if I had to read something extensive, I'd stop watching and read what the characters were saying.
But you're doing it for Fate Zero.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. I feel like Daniel, maybe you don't understand. I was watching Fate Zero while I was playing Hollow Knight.
Yes, and that makes you a monster.
I feel like I got it.
No.
I got it.
No.
There's this guy who went into a room filled with snakes.
What?
No, there was this girl in a room filled with snakes.
It wasn't snakes.
Insects.
It was insects. Wow, tomato. Come on. It's been a year since I watched it. It's been like 8 months.
Man. Daniel, I feel like what I noticed about you is that you juggle a lot of games and shows at the same time.
Yes.
Like at least 6, 7, 8 things. And that's why I notice you keep bringing up games in the podcast that you already talked about months ago. And also, only just now you finished them.
Also, to pile on top of that, Daniel,
point.
You have no media consumption aesthetic.
What does that mean?
So when I'm playing Ratchet and Clank, I'm watching Futurama, right? It's both sort of silly sci-fi. When I play Bloodborne, I'm usually watching, like, some horror or listening to a reading of the Lovecraft stories. It's like there's a theme.
This seems to... Okay, but you're talking about like media cohesion or like not aesthetic.
Yeah, but it's like there's a cohesive theming throughout the media I consume at a given time. You don't do that.
No.
See, I think that's even crazier. One enforces the other.
Well, no. That's an interesting point.
I mean, you could argue that like Samus Returns and Half-Life are both like, sci-fi to an extent.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but what else have you been playing and watching?
I saw Uncut Gems recently.
Oh yeah, so Adam Sandler.
Well, it's not a comedy, but like
a companion piece for Half-Life, right there.
Yeah.
No, sure.
No,
sure. Yeah, that has like zero to do with either of those, and that's fair.
That's a good movie, though, isn't it?
I liked it. Apparently, Bouken didn't.
Oh.
No, well, I hated parts of it, and liked other parts.
I enjoyed the entire movie. I thought that it was very interesting. It was uncomfortable though, but like in a good way, I'd say. But I do agree with you guys. I think it just so happened that Metroid and Half-Life kind of like lined up in that way, and even then it's a very tenuous connection. I definitely didn't.
That's why it's also so good when I was watching Silent Hill 3 and Monster. It didn't perfectly line up, but it's sort of there. But for you'll go all over the map.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, to be
like
fair,
the
I
next,
do too. I don't think
like the next game after Samus Returns for my 3DS is going to be Order of Ecclesia, and the only reason is because I always want to have like one game in rotation on my 3DS, and that's like one of the only Castlevania games I haven't played through yet.
Fuck. You're in for a treat.
Yeah, that's what people tell me. People tell me that like it's the best Igarashi Castlevania, so I'm looking forward to that.
Ooh.
And yeah, I just so happen to be in a Half-Life kick, and that's why I've been playing Half-Life. And I usually also have like one game that I'll consider it like the podcast game, and that recently has been Samurai Warriors: The Spirit of Saneda.
Excuse me.
It's a Muso game.
So that's a game you're playing for the podcast.
Muso?
Oh no, that's a game you're playing while you're watching podcasts.
What's a Muso game?
Okay. It's like one of those One Piece beat 'em up games.
Yeah, it's basically the perfect game to play when you're listening to a podcast, because who cares about the story? Just go in with your swords and spears and just like kill thousands of enemies and level up and feel good.
Yeah, I have those games when the new Path of Exile League comes around. I'm just going to be playing that for a month. And that's
you
when
like Path of Exile?
I'm making the point that when that game comes out, because I don't need to listen to the audio to that, and you don't need to spend your full attention on that, that is the month when I'm going to watch all my shitty horror movies. Because that's when I have the time for that.
Now, what I think is interesting for me, at least, is I've been telling you, like, oh, listen to a podcast, analysis video, blah, 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 whatever. But I don't put music. Even though I listen to a ton of music, and I could probably get through more albums if I did that, I don't. For some reason, I don't like doing that. And I'm not even really sure why I don't. It feels like it should be a good fit. Like, oh, I'm going to play a few hours of Spirit of Saneda. I could have put on the new Caligula's Horse album, which is really good. But I don't know. There's kind of like a disconnect for me there. And I think, actually thinking about it, I think what it probably is because the albums tend to have like an ebb and flow to them, where they go up and they go down. While a podcast and an analysis video, they tend to be more one note. They tend to just be like people talking, and it's like a consistent vibe throughout. And I think that for me, that probably fits better when I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At least that's probably what it is. I think that's about as weird as my media consuming habits get, though. I don't think my consuming habits are that weird, like, and there are games, like I said, the only games I usually like juggle like two things at the same time for are games that are just like just purely gameplay focused. But like if I'm playing something like Mass Effect, like I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be trying to pay attention to the game as a whole. There may be some of the gameplay sections, if it's like a particularly protracted gameplay section, I might do that. But like for the most part, I'm trying to get I'm looking at it as an experience. So, I wouldn't do that for like Resident Evil 2 Remake or something like that.
You want to hear about my weird media habit?
Sure.
It's that, basically for the past 5 or 7 years or something, I have always sat down at 11 p.m. and watched an hour of a show, or like what amounts to an hour of a TV show, one episode, or maybe it's an anime, then I manage 2 episodes. But I've been doing that.
Gungrave.
What?
Gungrave.
Well, yes, Gungrave. I mean, that's why it took me so long to get through Monster, is because I only allocate 1 hour of my time every day to watching anime or watching a TV show. And I always do that
How structured is your life?
Very structured. That's the point.
That's interesting, though.
Hold on.
But
I could probably get more shows finished if I did that.
That's like an hour is not a lot, but you do that for a couple of years, and you do that every day. You get a lot of shit done.
Imagine if you did something productive with that time.
I feel that is very productive. But that is why I don't watch shows and movies outside of that window. Well, movies too. The other weird habit I have is that I can't just sit down and watch a movie. I need to be eating something or making food or just drinking something. I don't have the patience to sit down for 90 minutes and just look at the screen, which is, I don't know, could be better, but that's why I only watch 1 or 2 movies per week.
I think the problem for me personally is I have a hard time doing that in my room. I would need to do it outside of my room, and I think the reason is because there's my computer as a distraction. Like even with just the screen being there, it feels like a distraction, even if the screen is off. So what I would normally do when I want to watch a movie or a show is I would watch it, downstairs in the living room. But sometimes I can't do that, so I would have to like go out of my way to like, change the way that my TV is aimed at in order to like aim away from the monitor, just so I can just purely focus on it, which is a weird thing for me. Like it's just a purely psychological thing.
Yeah, I mean, a movie it takes a lot from you to just watch. I feel like it's easier in a group.
It's easy also in proper context. It's very easy to watch a movie when you're in the cinema.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true in everything, though.
Yeah.
I'm never more productive than when I'm in a place solely dedicated to productivity.
But that's in cinema, that's why I like just getting popcorn, because that is a food you can just keep eating. And you don't need, it isn't about how much you eat, but that you can keep eating something while you're watching, for me. Yeah. Somehow I need that.
Daniel.
I find that watching movies, this might sound a little strange, but I find that watching movies is more difficult if you're on a date, because I feel like you're more self-conscious when you're with the other person.
Not me.
But like, yeah, sure, buddy. So like,
I'm quite a Chad, they tell me.
When I saw the movie Parasite, I saw it on a date, and I don't think I was able to. I still appreciated and really liked the movie, but I don't think I fully like appreciated the movie until I saw it a second time, and I was able to focus more on the movie itself.
Is that a date movie though?
No, it really isn't.
I feel like you take.
It's really not, but she was the one that picked it.
Oh, Because I feel like you take a date to like an adult theater or something. Thank you.
Anyways, you were gonna ask me something?
Yes. What should I play, or what's aesthetically compatible with Gungrave?
You're such an asshole.
The Godfather? The Godfather, I guess. Like,
I can't watch Gungrave and The Godfather. I mean to play or read or something.
No, you're not gonna play anything while watching.
I'm either
Gungrave.
gonna play something aesthetically fitting, or I'm gonna play something completely out of whack, and that's going to
I mean,
alter
the
my
Mafia
experience.
trilogy. The Mafia trilogy remastered is coming out soon.
I don't want to play that. Find something else for me.
I had nothing
and
else
I'm
for
difficult to please.
I don't know. Why don't you play Gungrave itself?
Pick out a show and a thematically accurate game that I can play while watching the show.
That's a very
know,
reasonable request. Come on, guys.
So I can't talk in depth about either.
There are 2 Gungrave PS2 games.
I've played one of them. Or I've watched my friend play one of them.
I haven't played either of them, and based on what I've seen of them, they're nothing like the show.
One of them is a first-person shooter where, in the end, you fight like a giant blue guy, and then after him, you fight a giant red face.
No, neither of them are first person.
No, one of them is.
You just spoiled the ending for me.
No, the show is not an adaptation of the games. It's like a...
Are you sure they're not first person?
story.
I have such a vivid memory of it being first person.
They're third person shooters.
Okay. Anyway, the other stuff is true.
You may be thinking of Gunwatch.
No. Am I?
Maybe? Or Dark Watch? Something like that?
Dark Watch.
Gungrave.
Yeah.
Long play.
Yeah, there's something called Dark Watch. I think that's a first person shooter. Yeah, that's a first person shooter. Gungrave are third person though. For sure.
Oh yeah, it is a third person shooter. I'm watching it right now.
I told you.
I haven't seen anything from this in like 15 years. It's incredible. Well, there is a blue guy and then a red face. Look at this. Damn, I'm good.
You know what's wild to me, Asa, is that you haven't even started Gungrave yet. You have a week to finish it, which I would never manage.
It's like 27 episodes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 20. Yeah,
26.
You know how long that takes me?
Yeah, it takes you. It takes you 9
weeks.
days.
Yeah, but that's not counting that I have a bunch of other shows. Like
that's true.
The seasonal anime I watch, that's taking up half an hour every time.
That is true.
Yeah.
I'll just
occasionally I actually get home late, so I can't watch anything.
You know what, Bouken? I can just sneakily speed it up by like 1.2 or 25, and it'll be basically the same show. Because your mind adapts to the speed, you know? It stops feeling weird when things are fast, and then when you watch something at normal speed again, it's like, whoa, this is really slow.
What are your thoughts on that, Daniel?
I don't know. I'm tuning him out at this point.
What is this?
What is this? What are you?
What do you mean? What?
What are you?
I'm very reasonable, guys. Come on. You guys are being needlessly difficult.
You know, for this whole someone recommends something and we all watch it thing to work, like we actually need to have this social contract where we all watch the thing.
Yes.
And think about it while watching it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the whole point is that we're recommending these things to each other because we want each other to experience something that is, I would imagine meaningful to an extent, right? Like
Handshakers.
That's why
Handshakers is very meaningful to me.
That's a show I'm gonna watch while doing something else.
Can't even
Let me
blame you.
tell you.
But no skipping.
No skipping.
I mean, I recommended Gungrave because, Gungrave means something to me, and I was hoping that, like, you would understand where I'm coming from.
It's not,
and be like,
it's not like I'm dismissive of it. I'm still watching it. I'm still experiencing it.
Like you weren't dismissive of Madoka?
That's because that's so anime. I hate that. That's
pretty dismissive.
Well, sure, that's dismissive, but I'm not apologizing for that. That's reasonably dismissive.
Yeah. And I already know what the next thing I'm going to recommend, and it's something that also means a lot to me. And that's why I'm recommending it, because I want you guys to see what I see in it. And even if you don't, that's okay too. At least you gave it a shot, and we can, discuss it. And hopefully, from that discussion, we can have a better collective understanding of the work.
True. I feel like the smart bet here is to just recommend literature. Because you can't really cheat your way through that. Well, that's not true. I suppose.
Well, you can listen to an audiobook and then play something else.
That is true. You could also just read a book and watch a movie at the same time.
What? No, you literally can't do that.
Yes, you can.
That is fucking impossible.
No, it's not.
God damn it.
You get the movie's ambience. And that is often enough. And with that being said, I've been Issue Aesthetics.
Anyway, I think that is all we can say about that topic. I think it's an interesting discussion to have.
Yeah.
Sure.
I find it incredible that you guys don't prioritize theming.
Okay.
Because, like, how are you going to watch something and then watch something else? You can't do that.
I mean, I think about that stuff too.
Yeah, I can.
If I really want to get into Gungrave, for example, how much should I... Like, I don't want to finish too soon because then there are still 2 or 3 weeks before we actually record the episode, right? But then also, I mean, I'm watching a bunch of episodes and then whatever, the fucking new One Piece episode comes out. So I don't watch Gungrave for a day. And that, I feel like, I think about how that interrupts my flow and if I would maybe think a bit differently about it if I hadn't watched something else.
Do you ever deliberately ruin your flow where you're like, you know what? I'm gonna watch Family Guy or some crap.
Well, no, because I feel like at this point, especially when you're like me and you only allocate 1 hour to the anime every day, then it will get interrupted anyway. And you just need to be able to separate the shows. But I've been noticing, for example, with Tower of God, that I was lost multiple times because that is a fairly complex show, and just having a week downtime every time a new episode comes out, you just forget shit.
Code Geass is 52 episodes. I'm sorry. I subjugated you to so much of that.
Yeah.
With Code Geass, that was something that I had to force myself to watch like multiple episodes every day just to get through it.
Yeah, I started watching that on the commute sometimes. And then I even allocated one of my movie slots, quote unquote, in the weeks to a bunch of Code Geass episodes.
I think something that we're not discussing, though, in terms of media consumption that applies specifically to us is how we consume it in regards to making videos. So when I go into something and I know for a fact I'm going to make a video on it, I consume it extremely differently compared to if I'm just enjoying it for the sake of enjoying it. So, like, for example, for the School Days video, I did not just rewatch School Days and that was it, and I started writing the script. I had my Word document open, and I was constantly pausing it so I can take notes throughout the entirety of it. So I was wondering how you guys go about
I do that with everything.
Yeah.
Like,
with everything? You take notes on everything?
Yeah, I have notes on every anime I'm watching right now, even though I might not need them.
Why?
What? Why?
I don't know. Because we're doing a semi-regular podcast, and I might be talking about it.
But
actual monster.
Is that really necessary?
You are a real monster.
They're not in-depth notes. It's just some of the stuff I just pick up on. I don't know.
That is more than the average person, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally the only time I do it is if I'm gonna make a video. Like, I wouldn't think to do it for something that I'm just enjoying. Like, what the fuck? Why would I have a Word document open for like Puyo Puyo or something?
I don't have a Word document open. It's just sometimes I should maybe write that down. Then I pull out my phone and write it down.
Okay, I guess.
But yeah, that is probably weird. I don't know. But at the same time, I mean, if you create videos and you don't know what your next topic might be.
That is true.
If halfway through Sing Yesterday for me, I have this great video idea, then I can look back at a bunch of notes I took about it earlier. That might save me some time.
It might, but I guess for me, that's not how ideas come to me. So
no, I never play a game and then go, I should make a video on this. It's always, I'm gonna make a video on this game, and then I play it and take notes.
Usually, for me, when it comes to like the ideas that come to me, it's usually after like some time after the fact, or I guess like the only time that wasn't the case was for the beginner's guide, where like after I finished it, I was like, okay, I have to make a video, but then I just like replayed it, and it wasn't like very difficult. That video was supposed to come out a long time ago, but we'll not get into that. But no, yeah, like I have a Berserk video planned, but I've watched Berserk like 5 times, so like it's just because I really like Berserk,
Yeah, sure. I have those things too. I have plans I've been having for years.
The School Days video came about like years after I watched School Days. Yeah. And then, I kept thinking about it for whatever reason, and then I decided, I think it was because at first I wanted to make a video about the ending only. And then I was trying to write the script based on my memories. And then I realized, okay, that's not working. There's some stuff I'm forgetting. And then that's when I rewatched it. And then I realized, okay, there's a lot more to talk about here, not just the ending. So that's how that video turned out the way it did.
See,
but it's very rare for me to like, as I'm experiencing a new piece of media where I'm like, oh, I gotta make a video. Like that doesn't really happen for me.
I think I mostly take notes because of the podcast. But see, for the videos you make, Asa, it makes sense that you would go, no, I don't need notes. The video idea comes first, and then you just play the game because you cover games holistically. While I try to come up with some sort of weird essay connection.
That's true.
That means something to me, which is that is I don't want to sit down and go, no, I'm going to make a video on this.
How just like a final question before we end this episode. How has making videos changed the way you consume media? Has it bled into like the regular way you do it?
I would say that when I've had like different phases. So at first I used to do more like really straightforward reviews, and I that definitely changed the way I would play those games, because then I would be thinking like, oh, I'm going to say this and that about this and that. And eventually I think I also started getting more, how should I put this, objective critique tendencies into, like, I didn't think about it in that way at the time, but like I started adopting some more like CinemaSins-esque like nitpicky nonsense, and then eventually I outgrew that. So it has affected me, but like in different ways throughout the years, where like I kind of went in and out of like what I actually value in critique, and it's been an ongoing process where it's made me kind of reflect and kind of realize like, well, what actually makes something good, and what actually is my preferences. And it started to make me realize what I personally like, dislike, and also what my standards are. Like, what do I personally think actually makes something legitimately good and bad outside of what I personally enjoy. Yeah. So it's been something that I would say is like organic, if that, I guess that's the right word, like just it's like a stream of consciousness almost.
All right.
I feel like for me it's mostly the time management, that I feel like I'm wasting my time if I don't play something for a video, but then a lot of games I play are not resulting in videos. And then on top of that comes my aspirations with fucking playing fighting games competitively. Like that is just, everything costs so much time, and that is nagging me every day. And it's annoying me.
Yeah, for a while, pretty much every single game that I played, I had to turn it into a video. And eventually I had to stop that because I kind of just realized, like, man, this is not fun. It's really bad.
Yeah. But a lot of games I know I'm not going to make a video on them, but I still want to play them.
Yeah.
And there's still this nagging feeling, like this nagging thought about, you should probably play something else. You should really get around to doing this now. You're wasting your time. Yeah.
You could be producing something.
Yep. Have you worked on your videos yet?
All right, so that answers that. Do you want to sign us off, Bouken?
Sure. What have you guys been up to lately? Any video making happening?
Daniel?
Well, at this point, part 1 of the Tesla's Hysteria video is up. I think I may have mentioned this last time. But
you did.
Yes, so that's up if you want to watch that. Part 2 is in the works, as well as a Silent Hill 4 video, as well as a Gungrave video. I'm not sure which of those is going to come out first. I'm still in the script writing process for the 3 of them, but that's where I'm at. I did replay Silent Hill 4 for the purposes of the script, so I have all my notes ready. So that's just a matter of going to town. I haven't really done much with the Gungrave idea yet, so that will probably come out later unless I change my mind. But part 2 for Hysteria, that script is like 99% done. I just need to like tighten some stuff up, and that's like, yeah, basically done. That's it.
How much do you write your scripts before you make the video, Daniel?
What do you mean?
I feel like I write a script and it's like I write it, I edit it out, like do a dirty rough edit of it, and then I'll go like, these parts don't make sense. I'll change this, and then I'll like rewrite the script in the edit. Do you do that?
No,
that's interesting.
When I write a script, I structure it very rigorously so that like everything that I'm saying is relevant in some way. Because I have 2 basic philosophies when it comes to writing, which is that the 2 most important things are relevance and flow. So the 2 things I always ask myself when I'm writing something is, what significance does this have in the grander whole of the script? And two, did the way that I transition into this make sense? Does where I came from before like move into this in a way that would make sense to the audience? So it's very important for me that when I write something down, that like the audience understands why this is being spoken of.
I see.
So because of that, I tend to rewrite the scripts a lot, just to make sure that like what's being said is contributing to the core arguments, and what is being said also is tying into other things, so that everything feels like it's connected and it makes sense. And and then when you look back, it's like, oh, everything was threading together.
Yeah.
At least that's what I attempt. You be the judge if I actually do a good job or not.
I try. I think that we have very similar priorities, but I think I'm much more flexible with it, because I don't get flow from the way it coheses together on a page. I need to see it. I need to see it playing out, and then I'll know if, well, this doesn't work or this does work.
One thing that I do, if something doesn't make total sense to me, is I will read it back to myself as if someone else was saying it, and because that helps me see it from like a third perspective, and then that's when I know like, okay, it does work or it doesn't work. Because if it makes sense to me when someone else is saying it, then that means it will make sense to other people as well.
I got you. Anyway, I've still just been programming for the last few weeks. Nothing's changed really since the last time we recorded a podcast. I managed the impossible, you guys. I managed to perfectly clone the movement system from A Link to the Past.
Oh.
Now, that is interesting, because most Zelda clones you'll play out there, they don't quite do it. So, A Link to the Past has octagonal movement. A lot of Zelda clones do that, but what they won't do is have terrain shaped in octagonal ways. So, what A Link to the Past does is, if you move up to let's say just a piece of geometry which has a 45-degree bend to it, Link will slide up and he'll slide around it. That has been the nightmare for me for the past few days now, but I finally managed to replicate it. Other than that, my plans are basically the same. I'm going to do Kingsfield 2 in a week from now. I'll start making it a week from the recording, that is. And I don't know about the Deus Ex video. I'm now being a bit hesitant, but we'll see. How are you doing, Bouken?
I've been playing Kirby's Dream Course, which might be the next video. I'm not sure how to do this. Like, I have that video in the works, and then I have another video that is where the script is basically ready, but those two are so drastically different from one another that I almost feel bad about releasing them one after the other. And so I don't know, I've been playing a series for a third video, which would be in the same video series as the Kirby Dream Course game is. So I kind of don't want to release the Kirby video and then the video on the long series after the other. But I do want to play that series and make a video on it, so I don't know what the fuck. It's just throwing shit at the wall right now.
All right, then.
Trying to see, I'm trying to theme, I'm thinking about if I should theme the output on my channel. And the answer is probably no, but it still drives me nuts. Because realistically, I'm releasing one video per month, maybe. And I think the viewers will probably not give a shit what happened the last month. Like they won't see, oh, what, he released a Kirby video and then this other fucking video about, you know.
So what do you mean? Like you'd be maybe theming as in like, oh, this is a Nintendo channel or something like that.
Yeah, for example, I mean, there are channels that only cover horror games or horror movies.
Yes.
Or that only talk about specific brands of games. Or that only make specific types of videos. And I have a problem confining myself to something like that.
I see.
But then it leads to to just output that is wildly inconsistent, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shit's hard.
It is hard.
I also need to find a way to get better audio in this room.
Huh.
I mean, I'm sure there's probably some like programs that you can download, and if you just learn a few things here and there, it'll help a lot.
Well, it's more about the getting rid of the echo. I'm not sure if programs can help me on that.
Oh, there might be.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah. I think this has gone long enough.
Yeah. Well, and that's it for the Essays in Espresso episode, I don't know, 22? Is that where we are?
Number something, definitely.
I actually noticed that I uploaded 2 number 14s, and I don't want to clean it up now.
How embarrassing.
Yeah. So, we're always 1 episode short from now on till the rest of time. And with that, I say goodbye.
Bye.
Take care. Oh, that was an episode.